Hey guys, the Explorer of Horror here, HorrorBoy465. Welcome back to some more reviews. And today talking about a franchise that I've reviewed, I believe, just once before. But really enjoyed reviewing these movies in the past. Now after part three, I wouldn't even say part three is good, but I don't really remember hating it, like despising part three. But I can definitely say that part three is not a great film, especially the version I have, where it's pretty much TV cut and some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Basically, this DVD right here is the Prom Night 4 didn't seem like it was a TV cut because I remember it having blood and stuff, which Prom Night 3 does have that as well. But Prom Night 3, they cut out cuss words that are so obvious they're dubbed. That the cussing is so obvious that it's been overdubbed, and that it's been edited out, and I guess there was more gore to the film. And I'm not really sure if they've released by now an uncut version of Prom Night 3, but this is just the DVD that I have. And I remember multiple times in the film there's very awkward just cuts, and some of the gore you can tell was taken out, and a lot of the cuss words taken out. But Prom Night was a franchise that I reviewed in the past. Of course, those videos are gone now, but I'm reviewing them again. It's a franchise I think that overall, um, as a franchise, it's last time I reviewed them, I had some fun with Prom Night 1 and 2. I love the first two movies. 3 I don't hate, but it's not a great film. And after that, you had Prom Night 4, which is probably um, I would say one of the worst sequels I've seen. And you had Prom Night the remake, which is one of the worst remakes I've seen. So you had a sequel that was one of the worst sequels I've seen, and you had a remake that was one of the worst remakes I've seen. So this series does have a few really bad movies, especially Prom Night 4 and the remake. But the first three, I love the first two, and the third movie I don't hate, but it's not a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's just a movie that I didn't despise, but it had some problems, which I'll get to when I review Prom Night 3, because Prom Night 3 for me is a hard movie to talk about because it's not a movie that I hate, but it's not a movie that I love. So it's kind of hard talking about Prom Night 3. Um, I can just say that I don't hate it, that it's a movie that I remember not hating, but if I watch it again, I'm disappointed in it, then, because it's been a long time since I've seen Prom Night 3. But I don't remember hating the movie. I remember thinking it was okay. But yeah, guys, figured that since I reviewed these movies in the past, the videos are gone. I've been wanting to review these movies for a while now, to redo the reviews, and figured why not review the Prom Night franchise. I love the first two movies. And the first one I'm talking about is the film Prom Night from 1980. And this film gets a 5.4. That's a little too low, in my opinion. I don't think it deserves that low of a rating. I think it's better than that. Now, would I say that Prom Night, I would say that it's a classic. I would definitely say that's a classic horror film. It's a film that I don't really watch a lot, but I can say that it's a classic. I can say it's a little bit underrated. I think that this movie has a great setting during prom. Jamie Lee Curtis does a great job, which I always thought when I seen that cover that, with Jamie Lee Curtis holding the axe like that, like I thought that meant that she was the killer. I don't know. Before I even seen this movie, I seen that cover, and I was like, is Jamie Lee Curtis the killer? But you found out who the killer is at the end of the film. But that's just what I thought before I seen the film. Now, this movie, like I said, came out in 1980, directed by Paul Lynch. Now, Paul Lynch, I'm trying to go on here and see what else he's made. But I know this movie was made for a very small budget, and it was made right after Friday the 13th, I believe. And the director, Paul Lynch, has directed films like Frozen with Fear, The Keeper, The Christmas Switch, Poltergeist, The Legacy, trying to see here, Matrix TV series, the Twilight Zone TV series, Bullies, Blindside, Blood and Guts, and I'm not really recognizing too many of these movies that he's made. But this movie, I feel like, is just it's a pretty good slasher film. I would say though that what makes this movie different about other slasher films is that it doesn't immediately get into the killing. And you figured that'd be a bad thing, but no, it gives the movie time to build up characters. It gives the movie time to build the story. Now I can say this though, the first movie is a classic. It's definitely a classic slasher film, but I love Prom Night 2. Prom Night 2 is my favorite film in the series, without a doubt. One of my favorite sequels out there. Just really enjoyed Prom Night 2 because I thought the story was really cool. The Mary Lou character was a very sinister, dark character. The movie had some decent characters, had a decent atmosphere, pretty good music to the film. But this movie's definitely got some really, really good things to it as well. Like I said, I still think it's a classic, but it's not really a movie I watch a lot. But it's definitely a movie that I don't have, really any problems with. I mean, there might be a few problems here and there. Like, the pacing does get a bit slow at times, but it does serve the purpose of building up the characters. But I did feel like it dragged sometimes. Um, but besides that, I really can't think of anything else because the cast did a great job. You got Leslie Nielsen in this movie. Rest in peace, Leslie Nielsen. Great actors in this film, playing a very serious role. It's kind of weird seeing Leslie Nielsen in this movie playing a very serious role. But he did a really good job in this film playing a serious role. And I believe I think he did Airplane this year as well. 1980, yeah, Airplane. I think he did Airplane this year. But Jamie Lee Curtis is also in this film. She'd also going to be in Terror Train, and she was in Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis has been in all kinds of movies. She does a really good job in this film. Great performance by Jamie Lee Curtis. And the rest of the cast I didn't mind. There wasn't really any bad actors. They did okay jobs. And the story's pretty basic. I mean, the beginning of the film, you have these kids playing, instead of playing hide and go seek, they play like murder or something like that, or killer. And basically one kid's the killer and they chase around the other kids and act like they're, pretend they're killing them. And they get to this one girl, and they end up, saying, kill, kill. And then the girl is backing up because they're kind of scaring her and they start surrounding her. And as they sort of, move towards her, she falls out of the window. And from there on, this thing has come back. Something has happened where there's also a little bit of a subplot that's going on where there was a mental patient who escaped, and I thought that was a great thing to put in the movie because it really did make you think, okay, maybe it's just a mental patient, maybe it's someone who just escaped. And towards the end of the film, they go, well, no, he's been caught or he's been dead or something like that. I don't remember if they caught him or they killed him, but they said that he was it couldn't be the psycho mental patient. And then you go, okay, then who is it? Because I really like how they threw that in there because it really threw the audience off because it was like, okay, maybe it's just a psycho patient that escaped from mental asylum. But then they go, no, he's been captured or killed, whatever they said. So it was really good on what they put in the film. And the kid falls out the window and she dies. And after that, pretty much these people, it's right before prom. It's years later, about 6 years later, and prom is going on. Everybody's getting ready to go to prom, and this killer starts stalking these people. Really, really cool idea where the killer calls them. And I believe they did this in Black Christmas as well, but in this movie, it's really creepy where, he calls the people. He calls Jamie Lee Curtis. He calls a couple other the kids that were there during that day when the girl got killed. Calls them and pretty much tells them that, tells them stuff like you're it and stuff like that, and pretty much talks to them on the phone and kind of creeps them out a little bit. And then it's the night of prom, and the killer, really cool idea where it has like a piece of glass, or a piece of a broken mirror, I think. And it's going around killing people with a piece of broken mirror glass and a fire axe, and the rest of the movie pretty much has a body count. Now, it could be bad because the body count isn't until the end of the film, so it takes a long time to get to that. But the movie's only an hour and 32 minutes, so it's not a long film. It goes by at a pretty decent pace, although sometimes, like I said, it does get a little bit slow paced. But for the most part, it does go by at a very smooth pace. Some great makeup effects in there, some really great death scenes, some classic death scenes. You got a death scene where the killer takes a piece of glass and slits this girl's throat. Crazy scene where this girl and this guy were just going having sex in this van, and the killer opens up the door. The girl falls out, and he stabs her in the neck and the face, and then of course causes the guy to fall out to roll the van over this cliff and crash and explode the car. And then another death scene. I think there was like maybe uh, I don't know. There was the van death scenes. There was the glass death scene where the girl gets her throat slit. By far the best death scene in the film is where this guy, sort of the douche character, bully character in the school, he is standing backstage as they're announcing the prom queen and king, and this killer, which I don't know if they have it on here, but a very cool look for the killer as well. Very basic, but yeah, I think it works very effectively in this film. A ski mask, black gloves, black long sleeve shirt, black pants, and boots with a piece of mirror and an axe. So it was basic, but I thought it worked for this film. I thought just for some reason it worked in this movie. It gave the movie a good touch because, I don't know. I mean, I know it sounds pretty basic, a ski mask, stuff like that. But for this film, I thought it worked very well. And pretty much the killer's like walking slowly up to this guy. He doesn't notice him. And the killer chops his head off, decapitation, and the head rolls off on the stage, and people start freaking out. You got a little, really good finale where Jamie Lee Curtis is fighting this killer, and her boyfriend comes in and starts fighting this killer, and then she ends up hitting him and knocking him out, and she notices something about this killer that as if she knows who this is, and you have that scene where they go out. And the killer comes outside the high school, and she goes, "No, don't kill him!" And he falls. And I really liked how they did this, where she's pulling the ski mask off. But as she's pulling the ski mask off, you're seeing little flashes of the memory, and you hear the guy going, "They killed her. She's dead because they killed her." And then it ends up being her brother, and her brother was there watching the event, watching the girl where she fell out and died, so he knew what happened. But I don't think they knew that he was there. And he pretty much went psycho from it. And it's definitely a very good twist. It was a good twist because, like I said, they did the whole mental patient thing, and then like they say, "Oh well, no, he's been caught," and then it's like you're wondering, or he's been caught, or he's been dead, or he got killed, or something like that, and then you're wondering who really is the killer. I really thought that the twist of the film was really well handled. But Prom Night, I mean, it's a classic slasher film. This review is very short, but I don't really know what else I can say. I mean, it's really well directed, has a great story behind it, some great acting performances by Jamie Lee Curtis, Leslie Nielsen, directed decently, had some decent shots in there, pretty good makeup effects, pretty good death scenes, pretty good music. That one song that plays, it's actually in Cabin Fever 2. During the prom scenes in Cabin Fever 2, you get that classic song in this film, "Prom Night, everything is alright." You also got like a lot of fun disco scenes, just absolutely just a lot of disco stuff, and it was fun to see a lot of disco stuff. And that song, "Prom Night, everybody's alright," it's a pretty good song, pretty catchy song, and it fit the movie very well. Basically, I think of it as the main theme of the movie. I know that I don't know if it's like the official main theme. I mean, it might be, but I really enjoyed that piece of music. "Prom Night, everything is alright." Pretty good song for the film, and the rest of the score I didn't mind either. So it's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good slasher film. My favorite though is Prom Night 2. By far, it's my favorite, but still, the first movie is an absolute slasher classic. It's a classic. I don't know what else I can say about it other than it's a great movie. Really recommend it. Definitely a classic slasher. And yeah. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review on Prom Night, and I will see you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.